What up, Waterwave fam? It's Eric from Waterwave TV. I'm back here with another Call of Duty video. Thank you to all the new subscribers we have, all the new Call of Duty fans that came in because of the press conference videos. Just to give you a little background on what our channel is, we service a lot of music artists in Minnesota, and now we are getting into the esports side of it as well. So you're going to see a lot more Call of Duty videos, news updates, stuff like that, highlights, press conferences, interviews with players, stuff like that. But in this video, I want to talk about how the first event went and just kind of what I think is in store for the rest of the season with the COD League.
It's the way it starts. It's the way it starts. It's Trace.
So first I want to talk about the standings that happened. They're kind of predictable, besides I think Paris going 2-0 was a little unpredictable. But you got FaZe, Huntsman, Rokkr, and Paris Legion all 2-0 out of the first weekend. I expected all the top FaZe, Huntsman, and Rokkr to all go 2-0, but Paris kind of surprised me. Definitely don't want to keep count anyone out though in the first weekend, because it is just the first weekend and everything's off predictions for online. One thing that did surprise me though, actually we'll keep going down. We got the top 5 teams were the Florida Mountaineers, the Royal Ravens, Los Angeles Guerrillas, and the Toronto Ultra. Those all seem about right. I was kind of surprised the Guerrillas beat Optic Gaming, honestly, but you know, it could go either way. It's the first weekend. It's not, and nothing's really too surprising to happen out of the first weekend, just because no one knows exactly what's going to happen. But then in the bottom of the list, we have Seattle Surge, Optic Gaming, Dallas Empire, and the New York Subliners. Seattle Surge has a lot of really good players on their team, veterans on their team. They did do a 4-6 map count, so they did lose a lot of close matches, but they are right at the top of the bottom of the list. And then Dallas Empire is the big surprise, going 0-2. They were predicted to be one of the better teams going into the league. And I know, and if you watch one of our recent videos where they did the press conference, they blamed the patch a lot, which I don't think it's the right thing to blame, just because everybody was dealing with it, not just them. But yeah, so that's the standings after the first weekend. The New York Subliners is probably the one team I expected to go 0-2. And I know that there might be some slight roster changes on the team, which is the next topic I want to get into. The next topic I want to get into is the substitutes and how they'll be used. I'm not exactly sure how substitutes are going to be used, because I don't think any team would want to break their five guys that they enter the tournament in with, that have been practicing going into that tournament, or you know, that weekend of matches, just because, like, if you have 5 people working with each other, building this chemistry, it's going to be hard to just throw one other person in there for a map and then take them out. You know, like you could do it, especially if they're watching your scrims. Maybe it's rotating in and out in scrims with you, but it's just not going to be as good as it would be if you just kept the 5 in there. But I do think the one thing that Toronto Ultra could do that the other teams don't have is have 2 separate teams of 5, right? Where they have maybe one team that only does respawn game modes and one team that only does search and destroy. So you can rotate, you know, you have the first 5 do the domination when the search and destroy, the hard point, and then when the search and destroy hits, you bring your other 5 on stage, and then when the domination wraps around and the hard point wraps around, you put the other 2 guys back on stage, and if it happens to go to a game 5, you bring your search and destroy guys back on. I think that's probably the only way substitutes will really be used, besides someone not performing very well for like back-to-back weekends, and they want to put someone else in their place and make him a substitute. I think that's really the best thing for the substitutes, and I think it's a really good idea that they do have them on the team, so that they are already building this chemistry and whatnot. Like, I think it's a good idea to have the extra players on the roster, for the reasons that if someone isn't performing, you can just pick someone that's already in your organization, throw them in there, and not have to really go scramble and try to find someone if someone's underperforming. Next thing I want to talk about is the venue. For the Minnesota, the first opening weekend, it was held at the Armory, which is a huge music venue. The way it was set up was super good. Like, it was 10 out of 10. I think it was probably the best venue Call of Duty's ever played in, and I hope all the other events continue to do stuff like this, or continue to have venues like this, and shy away from, you know, the old like hotel convention centers, you know, like the smaller areas, and they just stick to these venues because of how much money is in this league and how much fans are really growing on this, and I think each place should want to one up each other. So I hope the London tournament on the 8th will one up Minnesota just for the league, regardless if I'm a Minnesota fan or not. I hope they one up us, and then I hope Atlanta one ups them, and so on, just so that it gets better and better every time. The last thing I want to talk about is my predictions for the rest of the season / like for the upcoming events. I do think FaZe, Huntsman, and Rocker are going to continue to stay at the top of the list. Obviously, they're all going to play each other at some point. So one of them are going to get a loss, but I think up until the point they play each other, they're all going to be undefeated. I do think Dallas Empire is going to pop back. I think Optic Gaming is going to pop back, and I do think Seattle Surge is going to go on a run as well. They have too many good players on their team to not go on a run. I think like the Florida, the Toronto, Los Angeles Gorillas, they might not see as much success. The London Royal Ravens are probably going to do good at their home. I feel like they might do good at home, especially with the fans on their side. So I look forward to seeing how they do at home. And the New York Subliners, I feel like, are just like the bottom of the barrel right now. 1-6 map count. The roster wasn't that pretty looking on paper in the first place, and just how they played in the first weekend just wasn't very impressive to me. But so I think they might go through a little roster change. If it's not before London, maybe after London if they don't perform well again. But yeah, those are my predictions for the near future. I do think Atlanta FaZe is kind of unstoppable right now. If anyone matches up against Atlanta FaZe, I think they'll take them down. Maybe the Huntsmen might have a chance. I know I'm a big Minnesota Rocker fan, so I would like to keep them in contention with knocking them off the #1 spot. But Atlanta FaZe, the way they played, it just seemed so polished. Like, it didn't seem like they missed a step. It didn't seem like they missed a bullet when you're watching them. Like, they were just so sound. A very well put together team. I'm excited for the rest of the Call of Duty League season. Let me know what you're most excited about in the comments. Let me know what you think about the press conference videos, how the players reacted to them, and if you think it's a good idea that they're doing these press conferences right after all their matches. I think it just shows how big Call of Duty is going to be this year and how big it's going to be in the next 5 to 10 years as well. But this is Eric from Waterwave TV. Make sure you stick around. We got a bunch of good content. If it's gaming, if it's music, interviews, podcasts, vlogs, all that type of stuff. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. And I'm out. Make sure you subscribe.